Hi, I'm Shaul. The glaring advantage of the Nikon Z system over any other mirrorless mount is the vast compatibility of the mount to nearly any lens ever produced, with the exception of some mirrorless lenses. That was made possible by the wide throat of the Z mount, which is 55 millimeters, and the short flange distance. The shortest of any of the mounts, it's only 16 millimeters. It is so short that even Sony E-mount lenses can be mounted on a Z camera with full functionality using an appropriate adapter, of course. All those lenses can be used in a near-native manner. Autofocus lenses will keep their autofocusing capabilities through smart adapters. Even manual lenses, older vintage lenses, like Leica M-mount lenses, can acquire the capability to autofocus if you mount it on an autofocusing adapter. This is the system shooting me now, actually. I'm using Type-Oak 28mm f1.4 lens with an M-mount, which is a completely manual lens. It has no aperture control, no autofocusing, of course. It doesn't have an autofocusing motor, but I used an autofocusing adapter, a motorized one, that can move the lens forward and backward in order to give it some autofocusing capabilities. It doesn't work perfectly, of course, but for stills photography and even for some videos, such as a talking head video made for YouTube, like the one I'm shooting now, it's better to have something than have nothing. You see, when I get closer to the camera, the autofocusing mechanism will follow me. It is quite useful in some cases. Anyway, there is a glaring omission, a hole in this universal lens compatibility of the Z mount. And paradoxically, this omission is D-system lenses. Those lenses were made in the 1990s. They are based on a screwdriver autofocus mechanism, where an autofocusing motor located in the camera body drives the autofocus elements in the lens through a small screw. The FTZ adapter made by Nikon and other such adapters rely on electronic transmission of the autofocusing instructions, the autofocus detection located in the camera's sensor actually, sends instructions to the autofocus motor located in the lens through the electric contacts on the mount. But that adapter does not include an autofocusing motor of its own. Neither do Z-System cameras include such a motor. So those D-type lenses that do not have an autofocusing motor either can be used only in manual focusing. What is needed to drive the autofocus of these lenses is a motor that is actually located in the adapter, can connect to the screw drive mechanism of the lens and control the position of the focusing group in the lens. Such an adapter is sadly not made by Nikon. To use those lenses with their full functionality, you need to mount them on a Nikon DSLR or on a film SLR that supports autofocus. That system works very well for stills photography, but not for video. SLRs are very limited in their video capabilities in the Nikon ecosystem anyway, with the exception of the D780 that is equipped with a mirrorless mode that supports fast autofocusing of F-mount lenses, including D-type lenses that are focused through that screwdriver mechanism. Well, you can argue that D-type lenses made in the 1990s are irrelevant these days. They have old optical designs. Actually, they are very similar in their optical construction to older manual vintage lenses. When Nikon introduced autofocus into its lenses, it kept the designs of the AI and AIS manual lenses and only introduced this screw drive mechanism in order to give those designs an autofocusing capability. Those designs were made for film photography, which is not as sensitive to aberrations such as vignetting, such as chromatic aberration, because of the characteristics of the film stock. They are not very good when mounting them on digital cameras, especially not high resolution digital cameras, where their questionable sharpness, their poor corner performance, and their chromatic aberrations are much more obvious. D-type lenses have been replaced by motorized G and E-type lenses that lack an aperture ring on the lens. And those F-mount lenses are more suitable to digital photography. They were actually made for digital. So the image quality they offer is much more modern. They have higher contrast. They have better resistance to aberrations, especially chromatic aberrations. However, the older D-type lenses have some characteristics that are unique. You cannot take them away. First of all, they are very reliable. They lack any kind of electronics. They are purely mechanical. So if you look on eBay, you can find a lot of 30-year-old lenses that are still in mint condition. And they just keep working, where all the G-type lenses are still good, but I expect them to show their age, to develop some electronic faults. Second, D-type lenses are small. It was possible to make them small because they don't contain any motors, any electronics. It's only the glass and the metal, or in many cases a plastic shell. In addition to that, they preserve older designs, so they contain less corrective elements. Those are actual vintage designs. 50mm lenses, for example, include only 6 or 7 elements. Short telephotos include 5 to 6 elements. That is enough. And even wider lenses are not very complex in their design. Third, at that era, the 1990s, ED glass was still quite expensive, quite rare. And it was not included in many lenses. Actually, only telephoto lenses were built with some ED glass in that era. You can find wide-angle lenses, including zooms, that lack any low dispersion glass, which contributes to the poppiness of these lenses. They are alive. They produced an image that is true to life, which I happen to like, especially when shooting people, which is my preferred genre. D-type lenses are, in general, lower contrast. They do not accentuate small details. They don't portray them in a very contrasty way, which doesn't distract from the structure, the shape, the texture, the distances in the scene. And this is what makes the images they produce true to life. They behave in a similar manner optically to how our eyes see the world. Their lower contrast makes them quite special. even when you compare them to lenses made by other manufacturers in the same era. The images are lightweight, they are airy, fluffy, and it's a look that really reminds me of what film photography used to look like at the day. Of course, you cannot expect a digital camera to produce film results. There are too many differences in the image capturing technology, the processes. But the lenses do play a role in this representation. So I wouldn't say D-type lenses are film-like, but they are very different from what you may expect from images made with modern, contrasty, high-resolving power glass. So to me, D-type lenses are quite desirable. I like the small size, I like their build and their lightweight, and I also like the images they produce. The fact that I cannot make them operate natively on a Z-mount camera is, of course, limiting. My eyes are old now. They are not what they used to be. And I find myself relying on the autofocusing capabilities of the new cameras more than I would like to admit. I cannot focus manually as fast, as accurately as I used to. I told you all this story as an introduction to a new adapter that was recently introduced by a company called Monster Adapter. It's a Chinese company that developed this. This is an adapter that is motorized. You see this extension here at the bottom, and it actually contains a motor that does just what Nikon has been refusing to do since the introduction of the Z system. You can mount a D-type lens on it, and the little motor here will control the screwdriver mechanism that will control the position of the focusing group inside the lens to acquire focusing automatically. You simply mount the wide side, this one on your camera, and the D-type lens on the other side. It's quite light, it's well built. I think it's made of some sort of aluminium. It's cold to the touch, and generally I like the way it's built. The adapter can give the control over the aperture to the camera, and it transfers the aperture information electronically. But there is a problem there. For some reason, the adapter cannot stop the lenses you mount on it down beyond f5.6, which on the Z mount is the live view and focusing aperture. So you can only open the aperture up, but you cannot close it. Now 5.6 is a reasonable aperture. Most lenses will give you the maximum performance at that aperture. If you do not need a huge depth of field, you don't really use a smaller aperture than this. On the other hand, it does allow you to open the aperture to wide open. Wide open, there is sometimes another problem with this adapter. It does not seem to know what is the widest aperture of the lens. So it keeps trying to open the aperture ever more, even when it's at its minimum f value. You have to play with the lens a little bit until it recognizes that this is actually the maximum aperture. I've got a D-type lens with me. This is the Nikon 20 to 35 millimeter f2.8. It's my favorite wide zoom, one of my favorite wide lenses. A rare occasion of an autofocusing lens that then does not contain any ED glass. Wide lens, I mean. Try to find one these days. I don't expect you to have much luck with it. So anyway, I will mount the lens on the adapter. Now it's mounted. There is a MFF switch here, like on Nikon DSLRs, that decides whether the lens is used in autofocus or manual focus. I'll put it in the autofocusing mode. And now let me mount this contraption on the camera and see what it looks like. The lens filming me now is the 20 to 35 f2.8. At 28 millimeters, it is now set to f2.8, so it's wide open. I don't know whether you can see the difference in the image. I set the camera to shoot a little bit darker than what it wants to do, and the ideal exposure. Because when you shoot in automatic exposure, it's a little bit too bright. As I said, the image looks very airy, very fluffy. The highlight roll-off offered by those lenses is quite good, but the shadows are lifted and the overall contrast is on the lower side. So I actually prefer to underexpose a little bit by a third, maybe 2/3 of a stop in order to achieve the image I like. Now it's at minus 2/3 of a stop. As you can maybe see, the image is quite natural looking. You can evaluate the shape of my head, my facial features, without being too distracted by high contrast at high frequency levels. So my facial features look a little bit on the low contrast, which is, by the way, how I like the image to look. The autofocusing on this lens is quite noisy, of course. It's not one of those silent autofocus mechanism that is more typical of modern lenses. So if I move my head forwards and backwards, the autofocus will follow me. It will keep up with the slow movement, even with the faster movement. In that sense, it's a lot better than that autofocusing adapter I use for manual lenses. But it is a far cry from modern lenses, of course. It's better to have something than nothing, especially in my case, where I do need some autofocusing capabilities. I do not trust my eyes. My problem with this monster adapter is that it is still in a beta state. It is not ready for market. It achieves only 80% of its functionality. The fact that I cannot stop the lens down beyond f5.6 doesn't bother me so much. I don't tend to do that too much in my own photography. But for other genres, it is quite an important feature of any lens. There is an aperture ring on those lenses, but as much as I tried, I could not make the adapter respect the aperture I set on that ring. In fact, it does not work in manual aperture, unlike Nikon DSLRs that have a setting that allow you to set the aperture through the aperture ring on the lens instead of giving the control to the camera. Here the adapter wants to give the control to the camera. The whole point of having the aperture ring directly on the lens is making the operation of the camera during shooting more intuitive. So the fact I cannot use it is quite annoying, to be honest. Currently, the Monster adapter does not have any competition. As I said before, even Nikon itself does not offer a competing product. So I have to put up with infuriating limitations, have to suffer through this adapter. Although I am getting used to them. I didn't think I would be able to use those lenses on a Z-mount camera, ever. I'm keeping this adapter. First I thought I would send it back, or at least make my point of complaining to the company. I'm not sure if those limitations can be worked on and remedied through a firmware update. But even if I would be compelled to use the adapter at its current state, this is what I'm willing to do in order to give those lenses their full functionality. Right, that will be all for today. If you would like to support my channel, please consider buying me a coffee. It's a nice gesture between gentlemen. You will find the link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and see you again soon.